Skipping pre-production is one of the single biggest mistakes I see artists, writers, and game devs make when we're talking about creating projects that are intended to be worked on for an extended amount of time. I highly advise creating a planning document for the overview of the project. And this is something that's so simple, yet so many of us don't take the planning phase of our project seriously, and that usually is where I see things fall apart or never come to fruition in the first place. Now, for me personally, I'm the kind of guy that needs to have a reference doc for my projects, or I start to forget the cool or unique ideas I may come up with when I actually go into production of my games or comics. And depending on the medium I'm choosing to work in, be it game design, writing, animation, or comics, the kinds of documents I need may vary. For instance, when designing a game, you may need a literal story design document to map out the story beats of the game, a technical design document to plan out the architecture of your code, an art style guide to maintain the consistency of the art in the game, and even an overall game design document to attribute all of the previous documents coherently, right? For something like comics though, you may still benefit from a story design doc and an art style guide too. Background design concepts are also something you may want, and definitely character sheets, but I'd also throw in a literal script too, just to be safe and super thorough. Now there's some people that are gonna be like, but Chris, I don't need a document, I don't need a script, I got everything in my mind. But subjectively speaking, bruh, that isn't very efficient for planning anything super elaborate or even really serious. Now I can't sit here and act like there aren't some people who can just pull off that kind of planning or non-planning and be okay, but from the most successful projects that I've seen, read, and experienced, it usually comes from deliberate planning that pays off in the production stage and really the pre-production stage. So how does this apply to your project, right? Because you want to complete it one day and live to tell the tale. I'd say get into the habit of at least writing your ideas down as a first. You got a cool comic or game idea, write down just a simple log line of that concept, right? And a log line is just the concept in as few words as possible, or a single sentence. You can then create a story or project synopsis that follows this, and you can go into a little bit more depth in terms of how far you want to, delve into the details with that project. But a really important step I also want you to do after you jot down all of this, for scope reasons too, is to just roughly estimate how long you want this project to be in terms of chapters, playtime, and then I also want you to estimate how long you want to work on it for. And don't worry, this isn't something you're locked into, but this really just helps you later when determining the content you'll have to cut or significantly trim down, at least, to make your life not a living hell in the production phase. Now from here, the last thing I think is super universal to all projects before that may help you plan out your work a little bit better is by creating an asset list. When I was going through college, this was something we had to do when creating games so that we could keep track of what all we needed to be done or what all needed to be created. List everything in this step. Making a comic, list every character design, background design, item design, promotional art, asset pack you'll need to download. Pretty much just list as many things you think will come up that you'll need to eventually have or make in the comic. And the kicker about this step is that you're really never gonna know everything you'll need, but at least getting that rough list going really helps put things in perspective. Same thing for game dev documents. List everything you'll need from UI elements, sprite sheets, 3D models, shaders, asset packs, plugins. Like, bro, there's so many things about games that you really need to at least be aware of before hopping in, that this step for game designers, I think, is a must. You need this. Obviously, there's gonna be exceptions. If you're doing a game jam, you kind of just gotta go, but generally for well thought out projects that you're gonna be working on for a longer time, this is a pivotal step. Creating an asset list also doubles as an impromptu to-do list, right? It gives you a checklist of things you either may need references of or things you need to prepare for prior to starting. So for my comic that I'm working on right now, Turn-Based Hero, I made character design reference sheets, background design concepts, an overview doc, and I still realized I didn't have everything I needed, but at least once I started, I had so many references of the important things that the time I saved when working on my comic, it was simply unreal. I've been flying through like the line art phase of my comic, and working with the references I've already created for it has been such a big factor to that. And I can always go back and add more to the references and the reference sheets that I may need. So it's one of those things where as you kind of learn, you can go back and make references so you can make your life easier for the future. Now, there's so much more to be discussed on this topic, like how to prioritize what documents or reference sheets to make prior to working on your project, or even how much pre-production is enough before starting your project. But this video is long enough for now, and I think we could save that topic for a different video. I at least hope you got something out of it and maybe learned a bit more about why I think it's at least important to have a small document or two for your projects, right? Now, if you're new here, my name is Chris. I'm a game dev, storyteller, artist, and now a graphic novelist, making content here on YouTube to help creatives improve their mindset and complete projects they want to complete. Now, if that sounds like you, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe button for your boy. I really appreciate it. I upload bi-weekly, and the goal is to stay consistent throughout the year with it. If you want to support me or my channel, feel free to follow my Instagram. Check out, the past projects I've made, like Bing Bong's Prison Palace, or you can even look at this current project that I'm gonna be posting more info on in my Instagram, The Turn-Based Hero, which you can follow at chrismason_1 on all socials. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead and get about. I appreciate you guys for watching this week's video, and I'll talk to you real soon in the next one. Peace.